The Minisforum G1 Pro is the coolest release from the company in recent memory. When I first saw it at Computex 2025, I thought this PS5 inspired gaming mini PC would feature a laptop GPU. But no, it has a tiny desktop graphics card. While the PS5 styling vibes are obvious, the G1 Pro looks far better than that monstrosity, and I think this is the best looking device Minisforum has released. Period. And yeah, they've had their own monstrosities too, whether from a design point of view or RGB lighting. That's all fixed this time around, and the G1 Pro looks right at home next to a TV or a desk. Like the newer gaming consoles, it's all plastic and has been designed to stand vertically, although there's nothing stopping you from laying it down with the vents pointing upwards if you really wanted to. The logo text will be upside down, but otherwise I don't foresee any major problems. There's also some tastefully done RGB lighting on the front, which you can control in Windows. The G1 Pro is an interesting mix of mobile CPU and desktop GPU. Inside this one is AMD's 8945HX, a powerful 16-core, 32-thread mobile chip focusing on raw CPU performance, but it does have a weak integrated graphics chip as well. On the GPU side, we have Nvidia's RTX 5060 graphics card, not a powerhouse for gaming, but plenty better than integrated graphics solutions. Yes, that's right, it also beats the Radeon 8060S found in the Ryzen AI Max 395 Plus CPU. The RTX 5060's biggest weakness is 8GB of VRAM if AAA gaming is your preference, with a few modern titles complaining there's not enough VRAM for 1080p high detail. Apart from the vertical stand, the G1 Pro comes with a power and HDMI cable, screws, and an SSD heatsink with thermal pad. Pricing as of this review is $1,440 for the 32GB RAM, 1TB SSD model on Amazon, which is far cheaper than any of the gaming minis we've looked at recently. That being said, it is higher priced than previous gaming models like the G7 PT. And unless you've been living under a rock, it's not surprising considering the current component pricing. The front of the unit has a power button, USB-A and USB-C 10GB, as well as a 3.5mm audio jack. A Wi-Fi 7 chip is included for wireless and Bluetooth. At the top of the rear, we have the graphics card ports. 2 DisplayPort 2.1, HDMI 2.1, and DisplayPort 1.4a. Below that is a USB-C and 2 USB-A 10GB, HDMI 2.1 for the iGPU, 5GB LAN, IEC power input, and a power supply switch. Opening the G1 Pro is a pleasant experience. Remove the stand, 2 screws below it, and slide the panel off. As you can see, everything is nicely put together here. There's an internal 350W power supply, and it looks like a replacement could be sourced if needed. The RTX 5060 is the Gigabyte low profile model. It's likely you would be able to upgrade the G1 Pro with a similar low profile RTX 6060 in the future. There are two M.2 PCIe Gen 4 X4 slots supporting both 2230 and 2280 NVMe drives. The included Kingston 1TB NVMe drive comes with a heatsink. I was able to add another SSD by pulling the cables to the side instead of unplugging them, but it is a tight fit. However, there's no chance of accessing the RAM without removing the CPU cooler, which has 5 screws. And to my shock, there's only a single crucial 32GB RAM stick here. This is the third device in a row from Minisforum with this configuration. These review units are dispatched to me from Amazon Australia, so from there at least, it looks like all their minis are suffering from this configuration. As always, I'll test with 2 RAM sticks in the benchmarks. Windows 11 Pro is included and Malwarebytes didn't complain about anything. However, Windows Defender did complain about the included RGB software, which also allows you to change the power limit of the CPU. Windows Defender says the WinRing Zero driver, which controls RGB lighting, has security flaws. However, I will note that other companies also use this driver to control RGB lighting. Ubuntu works fine, however, you might need to install the NVIDIA graphics driver manually. The G1 Pro has 3 power modes, with each one only affecting the CPU. For this review, the default out-of-box gaming mode was tested as balance mode in the benchmarks with included 1 stick of RAM, and the beast mode is tested as performance mode while using a 2x 16GB kit of RAM. Okay, starting with Cinebench single core, the G1 Pro's 8945HX matches the previous generation 7945HX. Performance mode made no difference. The multi-core result is better than the previous gen G7 PT gaming mini PC out of the box, but with performance mode, it just matches it. The Geekbench CPU benchmarks are typically affected by memory speed, and in this case, the G1 Pro trails the previous gen mini PC in single core, but matches it once a kit of RAM is thrown in. Geekbench Multicore sees a big hit to performance out of the box, while a kit of RAM and the power limit maxed out again is pretty much the same as the previous gen. Next benchmark is H.264 CPU video encoding. This is another one affected by RAM speed. We see the same pattern as Cinebench. Poor performance out of the box, and fine with the RAM kit and performance mode enabled. Switch to the AV1 video codec, and we see something a little different. Not as bad performance out of the box, and a win over the previous generation with the changes to the configuration. The final video encoding test adds GPU hardware acceleration for the same AV1 encode, and in this case it's Nvidia's NVENC, which does poorly out of the box, but is fine after the tweaks. The AI benchmarks come back with a set of 3 results, so only one mode is tested, and that's the best one, which is performance mode. Here's the result with a kit of RAM and the power limit maxed out. The 8945HX trails most of the other mini PCs tested in the AI CPU benchmark. The same with the RTX 5060 in the AI GPU benchmark. Still, given its price point compared to those higher performing options, it's not bad at all if you want to try OpenClaw or something else. We usually see a massive difference in iGPU performance with one stick of RAM, but since this mini has a graphics card with its own VRAM, there's little to no impact. Only fire strikes or a difference in score. The RTX 5060 is close to the performance of an RTX 5070 laptop, and up around 19% over the 7600M XT found in the previous gen AMD G7 PT. Here's TimeSpy where it's 22.5% ahead, and an even bigger 35% in Steel Nomad Lite. So on the CPU side, we see no gain over the previous gen, but with graphics performance, there's a healthy double-digit percentage boost, and of course, we have the benefit of being able to upgrade the GPU as long as it meets the size restraints. From the benchmarks, we also saw that the CPU drops in performance with one stick of RAM, but I wanted to check if it makes a difference in AAA gaming, and the answer is not much. It'll make more of a difference for games requiring a lot of CPU performance like esports, but overall impact won't be anywhere near as bad as a mini PC with an iGPU. As almost always, we're testing the games without any upscalers. With that in mind, you're looking at 1080p for AAA games with good frame rates. For higher resolutions, it's either DLSS or lowering the detail settings. Most emulators will work great with the AMD G1 Pro. Another benchmark that performed poorly out of the box is the Linux kernel code compile. There's a big difference after adding a RAM kit and upping the power limit. Adobe Photoshop does depend on memory speed, and we can see the results here with a large bump after the kit is thrown in, with a smaller part of the performance attributed to the power limit increase. That's also the case with Adobe Premiere. Minisforum typically uses Kingston NVMe drives, and they vary in speed depending on the model. However, we usually see the lower end ones bundled, and this is the lowest performing drive tested so far on this high-end minis list. The heatsink it comes with is enough to keep it from thermal throttling under load for longer periods. Bluetooth range is above average at just over 6 feet, and wireless did not drop out at 10 meters or 33 feet from the router using the 5G band. Idle power draw is an odd one with the G1 Pro. Once the Mini does settle down, it hovers around 37 watts, but it's pretty often that it'll spike up all the way to 80 watts and you'll hear the fans ramp up. Maximum power draw is almost identical to the previous generation AMD G7 PT gaming mini PC in both modes. CPU temp runs high under load, but manages to stay under 100C. The GPU temp maxed out at 88C, which is on the high side. Unfortunately, Nvidia doesn't allow us to see the hotspot temp. Fan noise under load is above average out of the box, hitting 47 dBA. This is similar to other gaming mini PCs with discrete GPUs, while maxing out the power limit has it hit 50 dBA. At 3.8 liters in volume, the G1 Pro is one of the bigger gaming mini PCs around. You can get into the BIOS with the delete key on startup. In advanced, you'll find the power limit setting. Onboard devices has RAID as an option. ACPI features Wake on LAN. Hardware monitor lets you change the CPU fan curve. In AMD PBS, we can see the PCIe slot is running at Gen 4 X8 and supports bifurcation. Right, and now we head into the mini PC checklist. The AMD G1 Pro is the nicest build I've seen from Minisforum yet. While the price is better than most of the current competition, it's still a lot more than it should be due to the high RAM and SSD prices. Unfortunately, this is one of the few models that Minisforum isn't selling bare bones. A compact power supply is included, but not many other features, as we can see going through the checklist. I'm happy the AMD G1 Pro is easy to open, but unfortunately, once again, we only received one RAM stick. I have followed up again with Minisforum what's going on, and I haven't heard back yet. I would prefer if Minisforum did not add its RGB software into the OS. Let people download and install it manually if they want to add the security risk. Performance is okay, and CPU cooling is under 100C, which is on the high side. There weren't any problems with RAM or SSD overheating either. Happy to report there aren't any problems with Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. Idle fan noise, as mentioned earlier, keeps ramping up and down, while load fan noise is above average. Minisforum does provide BIOS updates, with the current one for this being 1.03, and they do provide a longer warranty at 2 years. From a design standpoint, the AMD G1 Pro is very impressive. It looks better than a PS5 and packs a lot of power in a small package. I would have preferred an external power supply and space for a larger GPU, but I understand Minisforum wanted to go for the all-in-one console design. It's certainly not perfect, but a really cool product and easily beats out the Steam Machine in performance, although of course that will be priced lower. If you're interested in the Minisforum G1 Pro, check out the links in the video description, which help make reviews like these possible. And if you don't need so much GPU power, or want to be able to use an eGPU, then check out my review of the Minisforum AIX1 Pro right here. Cheers!